button.
There you go.
We on this thing. Got my new braids for the podcast. Alright, what's up everybody? It's Grown B. We got Blazed Up.
Strike Freedom.
X-Men.
Man, we're gonna be talking to y'all about some anime today. And so we got a lot on the schedule. This will probably be maybe a little bit longer than some of the other ones that we've uploaded over the past couple of weeks. Basically, we're going to do our manga review, which is going to be consistent with whatever anime that we're doing. Right now, we're still doing Shummatsu no Valkyrie.
Yeah.
So we're doing that. We're going to talk about some of the best opening anime cinematics. And so we're going to open up with that here in just a second. And then we're going to do a topic about how Dragon Ball Z specifically has become such a big influence on anime worldwide. And then we're going to do a kind of a deep dive into Goku as a father, because there's these long-running jokes that Goku is not a good dad. And so what we want to do is we kind of want to break that down and talk about just how everybody really feels about that, and then hopefully steer some people from, because I know a lot of people are kind of, for the most part, trolling, but we want to make sure that people really know the facts of what type of person this guy was. And so for now, we're going to open up and talk about some of the best opening cinematics that we've seen in anime. So who wants to open up with that?
I'll open up with that. I'll start off with probably one of the most latest ones that I've really started to like a lot. And the song and the animation, the fact that they finally released the second part, because you know how they usually do like a opening 1 and opening 2 that have the same song with different kind of cinematic in the background. Mm-hmm. They finally released the second part of it, and it's Black Clover's Black Catcher. That opening is still probably from one of the newer animes that come out, especially shonen. And shonen animes usually consist of a lot of openings throughout their runtime. That is one that I think I'll actually still go back and listen to. Another one, I'm just going to go over 3, kind of just my big 3 ones that I just really like a lot of, and then we kind of switch from there. My second one is going to be from Naruto Shippuden. It is opening 13 or 14, I believe. That is probably one of my favorite openings in anime history, only because of the song, what takes place in the anime/manga at that point, and just the cinematic and art of everything that's going on in the opening, and the music just bouncing off of it so well.
Yeah.
That's another good one. My final one, this one was tough because I played it on the HomePod and I was playing a bunch of other ones just to kind of see which one I wanted.
Yeah.
But it goes to Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood.
Oh, okay.
And the opening of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, that opening is so good. Especially just the opening part of the song to the middle part, her transition is how she's kind of just singing pretty much going off of the opening and it just mixing with everything in the background. It's so dope. That's one of my favorite openings. Like, so that's going to be my little 3 right now. Probably not top 3 like ever, but the 3 that are right now I think are the ones that are most important to me.
For me, it'd be probably number 1, Cowboy Bebop. Because, you know, that's just an iconic opening in itself.
Isn't that your favorite anime?
That's my favorite anime and my favorite opening because the show just appeals to everything. Comedy, music, it's my thing. My second one would probably be the Fooly Cooly opening because it has the pillows on that soundtrack. And they killed the whole show, just sonically proving. Maybe the last one, for me, I'm in between Naruto when they were at the tuning exams and Soul Eater. Soul Eater, the part 3.
Part 3,
yeah,
that's a good one.
Part 3 was fire.
Paper Moon.
Ooh,
yes.
Black Paper Moon.
Yes,
but then the tuning exams, Naruto, no. Actually, post-tuning exams, where they're chasing after Sasuke.
Yeah.
It's pretty good opening. OG Naruto had some cold openings. Yeah. So, but definitely.
Oh, that Paper Moon one is good.
It's good. It gets you. So, those are my top 3 for right now.
I think for me, I gotta throw out Demon Slayer.
Yeah.
I have to throw out that intro. That intro is amazing. I love the soundtrack. I love the scenes and stuff. You know, it already has really good art style and everything. So I really appreciate that one. Right off the top of my head, I was thinking We Are Angels from Dragon Ball, but that's not an opening. I don't think it's an opening.
No, it's not.
It's at the end. That's an outro. So I'm gonna skip that one. I gotta go with what is it? We Are Hope. One Piece.
One Piece. Yeah.
Once you get
where
there.
does that start?
Oh, you're getting close to it actually.
Yeah, for real.
Okay.
He is. Yeah.
Yeah, you're getting close.
You're getting relatively close.
Really close.
I really enjoyed that one, and then Hunter x Hunter.
Ooh, which one?
Which one? They're all good.
The Chimera Ant arc.
Yes! Oh my gosh,
bro,
that
one
opening
is
was
so good. It is crazy.
So mine are. I'm always gonna have a soft spot for that Yu-Gi-Oh intro. Like, one of the things that I like about it is the sudden change of pace in the like in the middle of it.
Yeah.
Like, so you have that Egyptian fucking flowy kind of music, and you see just this dude with his eyes closed, opening them back up, and you don't really know what you're about to watch. And then all of a sudden, he says, do 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 do, and they play that thing that like they really hype you up and get you going with that. So I'd say that was, I don't say I have a particular order. So that for me, Dragon Rock the Dragon Ball Z is always gonna hit. Like, to me, they just, and what I like about it is they still use some of the narrative audio from the actual clips and stuff that take place. And so when you hear Krillin yelling or Goku yelling something, like, it goes so perfectly with the music. So that's gonna be another one. And then this one, I'm not sure about, because I don't know if y'all would consider it an anime or not. But is Samurai Jack an anime?
Oh,
yes.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Samurai Jack intro, especially with that. I feel like it was one of the first ones to take like kind of like a hip hop type beat and put it with some anime style like cinematics. And so, like, there was times where I knew I didn't have time to watch a whole episode of Samurai Jack, but I would always watch that intro. So those are three that I feel like have always kind of stuck with me.
On that note, just to throw it out there, because I know y'all all agree with this one as well, because it's not technically an anime, but the Boondocks.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
The Boondocks.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, it has swords in it, but she on ground. That's basically anime.
So the Boondocks opening is so.
The Boondocks has
iconic.
Very
great,
very like a lot of callbacks to anime. Like, I would consider the Boondocks an honorary anime.
Oh no, yeah, definitely.
Like an honorary anime for sure.
Thing. They had 5 fingers.
Okay, cool. So we can move on to reviewing the manga. Last time we talked about the fight between
Lubu and
Thor.
It's Lubu?
Yeah.
Lubu and
Thor.
okay. Because sometimes I get him confused with the DC character Lobo.
Yeah, Lobo.
So Lubu and Thor, and then we saw we just recently went over the chapter with Adam versus Zeus. And so honestly, I had read to chapter 10. And I thought that the fight was over. And so I was like, okay, well, let me start reading a little bit more. And so I didn't realize that it goes a little bit, like, it goes into 11 and 12 too.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, I think that it has some nice twists to it. Man, I really like how they're setting up. I mean, I thought that it was going to be difficult to read about, and as good as the artwork and everything is, like, one-on-one fights, back to back. I was like, man, how are they going to keep this interesting? They're finding a lot of good ways to keep this interesting.
So, on that, like...
What chapter did y'all read to?
I read through 13.
Yeah, me too.
Did you see who's the next fight?
Yeah.
No, I didn't see that.
I did, but in like...
It's obvious. It's okay to talk about that.
Okay, so basically it's Sakazuki.
Yeah.
Sakazuki versus...
Okay, so that's 14. When he pops up and he talks to the Valkyrie. Okay,
hold on, we'll talk about it after this, because I like what you just said. How are they going to keep things interesting with all these guys and all these humans, one-on-ones, and make the next fight starts off unique as hell?
What I really like that they're doing, and I think that this really works well with the pacing, it works well with the flow, and it makes it constantly interesting, is focusing a lot on the commentary of the other gods, the commentary of the humans, and the commentary of the Valkyrie and her sister. Yeah. And I think using those and those perceptions of what's going on to kind of help tell that story is what makes it much more of a deep dive, as opposed to, we're just watching two characters fight.
Yeah.
But then they also throw that lore in there, like especially when Adam went into the the Hall of the Gods, and he ate all those
I was
apples.
gonna say, what did y'all think about Adam's ability? The eyes of the
He
Lord.
was the perfect person to fight Zeus.
He was the perfect person to fight Zeus, but like, what do you think, like, how they symbolized that ability with Adam, and then how he used it in the fight? Like, every time Zeus would throw a punch or do an attack, Adam copied it at the last second and overpowered Zeus's attack with his, and he's still human, he's still mortal, but he was able to pretty much take that same power and make it his own. Like,
well,
I
he
like
had the
how
Valkyrie with him too.
he did have the Valkyrie with him, and yeah, that did a lot of damage. This is Zeus.
This is
And
Zeus.
Adam
That's
was
throwing
way-
Zeus's power at him.
Yeah.
Plus more.
Plus
That's
more,
a lot of
pretty much.
power. And it's just crazy the abilities that you're seeing so far.
I thought it was a good
Fights.
symbolization between like Adam and his power, eyes of the Lord. Adam was the first human. That connection between them was a lot closer than most other humans at the time.
Well,
so like
I think what they're really playing off of is the biblical scripture that says that Adam was created in God's own image.
Yep,
And so it's like it's basically they're saying, okay, this dude is effectively a god, you know. And so I really like the way that they played that, and I think it worked really really well for him to be able to match them like shot for shot and do everything that they were able to do. I feel like that was it was very clever. Honestly, it was very clever.
the ending of the fight. So do you think the ending of the fight was a good way for them to do it?
Yeah. At the end of the day, you still have Zeus.
But like Adam legit dying right there.
Yeah. It's him versus
But the thing is, like, I like, honestly, I like the way that they did it because it's not what I expected them to do, and it's not in the way that I expected them to do it. And I feel like that's what works really well because narratively, I'm thinking, okay, well, the gods won the first match. They're probably not going to win the second match. And the fact that Adam was dominating for so long throughout the match, it made me feel like, okay, how are they going to continue to one up this fight? You know what I mean? And so I think that was kind of one of the best ways to do it, to show like, yes, he has this, but at the end of the day, the difference between him and the gods is the fact that he can't maintain it.
The reason I brought it up is because of what the Valkyrie said. She called Adam the trump card. That was pretty much their trump card in her eyes to defeating them, and she just pretty much lost the trump card in the second match. Like, hearing that, well, reading that, it's like, all right, so what does that mean for the rest of the humans? If Adam was literally supposed to be the top out of the selection that she gathered together, and she just lost that, so now everybody else is literally under Adam in terms of ability and power. So it makes it that the next fights, kind of like how we kind of saw with this next fight's going, they can't just jump into this fight now. Because they literally just saw the top human lose. So yeah, of course it was Zeus, the top god over there, but it's still, I just saw their number one chance of winning, I guess, against lower gods going now.
So I feel like this is going to go, I feel like there's going to be at least a couple of fights that are more like a game as opposed to a fight. And I think those are going to be some of the opportunities where some of the human characters are going to be able to use more so their intellect and experiences through history and stuff like that to outwit another god in a more so like kind of like a chess match type thing. And so that's what I expect. That's kind of what I expect to see. And one of the things that I wanted to bring up, like as far as the end of Adam's fight, I think there was a panel where they said Adam had actually died long before the end of the battle. But
he just kept going.
His willpower somehow was just driving him to continue to fucking fight. And so, like, even though Zeus, for the most part, fell first, they were like, yeah, Zeus fell first, but he's been dead for about an hour. Like, so I thought that was a really interesting way for them to kind of close off that battle.
I like for the fight itself, it's laying the groundwork to where, what if these gods are gods, but they do something with just that straight up G-O-D? And if that's the case, how are they going to depict that? Where you have the gods themselves and you have the humans, and then you have that one
God. Yeah.
God. Because I mean,
because they pretty much said that he's there.
Yeah,
he's there.
Yeah.
They pretty much made it
straight up,
like
with
straight
Adam.
up.
They
With
made
Adam,
that mark.
they pretty much made it that
Yeah.
he is there. He is present in the manga. So that is interesting. Is like how they're gonna depict him.
Yeah.
And how is it gonna be through a fight? Is it gonna be through some kind
Is he
of
really just gonna be the mediator, just watching? Like
You're
has
about to
takes
see-
no place in it.
like
Yeah,
Valkyries
I think it's gonna be
versus
something- I think-
gods, or
Yeah.
We'll see how.
I really like the emotion that was portrayed whenever Adam was starting to lose and stuff.
Yeah.
everybody?
Like you just saw like his connection to what humanity is.
Because that was pretty much humanity is his
father.
kids. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, and I
Like-
really like the way that was.
And that was
portrayed.
pretty much like you saw Eve, but then you saw all the rest of the humans, and they were all like, that is like, regardless, like if that actual that was like, yo, he is literally the first human. Like that was
Yeah.
it was a connection between that. Like that was their start. Was him. So,
But I did think that some of the dialogue was a little corny.
yeah,
Like,
there
it
was
was
a
like,
few.
Dad, I love you.
Yeah.
But it's like you don't know who this person actually is. Like you know based because you know the story, like as far as them and everything. But I thought some of the dialogue was a little corny.
What'd you think of Cain and Abel being in the crowd?
That was funny.
Oh, I must have
Yeah, they were next to Eve.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was
Cain and
Eve.
Abel.
Oh.
Speaking of Eve,
Eve was fine.
Eve.
Yeah, Eve.
Yeah, Eve.
Bro, literally
Yeah,
from
man.
Eve, 'cause she had them thickums, them yams,
Yep.
them goddamn.
Yeah, she was hitting us up.
Mm-hmm.
Girl had more peaches than the whole field.
Yeah.
The first female better look like that.
She was bad all around. She made the rest of these hoes need to go back to the formula. Let's go back to the drawing board. I'm just saying. She just told me that you were bad from the jump.
So do y'all want to do just focus for a few more minutes on some predictions that y'all have for maybe the next couple of things?
Next
This is where I
fight
can
is gonna
say,
be good.
where I can talk. Okay, so this next fight, whenever they get introduced, what's the name again?
Shiki died. He's
Sasuke.
the world's
Sasuke.
greatest loser.
Yeah,
The world's
Sasuke.
biggest loser.
Yeah, the world's greatest loser, and he's a swordsman. So he's going up against Poseidon, which Poseidon is
one of the
Zeus's
strongest
older
gods.
older brother.
Mm-hmm.
Older brother, mind you. So you know he's got to be wise. Like he's probably not as strong as Zeus. I mean, lightning can fuck up water. I'm pretty sure. So whenever Poseidon goes out there, the whole arena pretty much turns into water, and you see all these waves and shit. He's walking down the middle like Noah.
Mm-hmm.
Before, right? Or
Yeah.
Moses.
Yeah.
He's walking down, spreading the water like Moses, and then they both square off in the middle, and then all of a sudden, bro, the water gets still. Like it just stops moving. Just stops moving. It's almost like one of those moments in anime whenever,
It's about to be a big fight.
well, a character like unlocks something. They had that snap,
Yeah.
like Super Saiyan 2 Gohan. Whenever
Oh,
he was
there you
Super
go.
Saiyan 2,
Yeah.
It was like one of those moments you can hear a pin drop almost, and so I didn't really know what was going on until a couple panels later, and basically
He's playing out the fights.
They're playing mind games with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And whoever makes the first
Like,
move.
Okay, yeah, I did read a little bit more of that. Yeah.
So neither one of them was moving,
Good.
but who was it that
I think it
brought
was
it up? Was it Loki?
Hermes.
It was Hermes.
Yeah, it was Hermes.
Hermes
Yeah.
brought it up, and he was talking about, oh, y'all don't. He was like, y'all don't see what's going on. He said, I gotta see his name, bro. I'm gonna keep on fucking it up.
Suzuki.
Kojiro.
Kojiro.
He started making advancements on Poseidon. That's what he said. And he was like, "What are you talking about?" And then you see this panel, and it's just all these different outcomes, like
They're all
what was
deaths,
going on,
yeah.
and they're all elves, and it's just like, what? So
Wow.
it wasn't physically happening, but they were playing mind games with each other.
Wow. Okay.
And they said something about Kojiro, and they said that he has the power of enlightenment. I thought that was dope.
Mm.
So that's the whole reason why like this is going on from what I can understand.
That is gonna make some of the other interests because from what whenever I was going through, somebody kind of like spoiled one of my I don't know who he's fighting, but Jack the Ripper. The Jack the Ripper fight, because of who he is, I'm wondering how Jack the Ripper, like how it's gonna be. And whenever you say game, like it's gonna be kind of like them playing a game, kind of with this also the mind games too. And this Jack the Ripper we're talking about, it's gonna be like a mix, I think, of it not just being probably in that arena. Kind of, you know how in Fairy Tail when they did the Grandmaster Games, that giant city popped out of nowhere? Something like that, where like they changed the terrain of the arena and the fight takes place in a different style.
Okay.
I definitely don't think, for me, every fight's not going to be a fight.
Yeah.
Like, every fight's not going to be I'm cutting your head off or punching you and blood's coming out of your neck.
Yeah.
Like, that, it can be. And so I'm thinking setting up some type of, like, obstacle course or setting up some type of, like jigsaw type, get out of this type shit. Like, I'm thinking that's kind of ultimately where it's going to go.
The reason that they all can't be fights is because one of the gods is Buddha. Why would they make Buddha fight?
Yeah.
That wouldn't make sense at all.
The 99 heavenly hands, buddy. Nitaro.
But still, that's not representing actual Buddha though. And that's why it wouldn't make sense.
I definitely think the Loki fight is probably going to be one of those game fights.
Yeah, that's going to be a trickster fight for sure.
Jay, anything else?
Oh, my bad, dog. Man, this next fight's pretty spicy, though. Like,
spicy?
Poseidon and Kojiro?
It's love that chick from Kojiro good. Like, it's I think, like, the mental games. But I want to go back to the Adam fight.
Does he summon the Kraken?
I want to go back to the Adam fight.
Okay.
So,
Sorry.
The Adam fight, man, it was for one moment you got hope again in this series. Because you saw Lu Bao take an L beforehand. You're like, all right, dog, Thor was just playing with him. Because they made the gods so powerful with Thor. So, the Adam, for him to actually go toe-to-toe with Zeus, and there wasn't no like, oh, I'm bringing out the finisher, the next combo move. Like, Zeus gave his all. So, I think it was good because, like, all right, even though this was our top tier character, he was able to go toe to toe. Not some, oh, dude, you haven't seen my final power. It was just straight up L's.
I have a question.
Yeah, what's up?
Do y'all think, because they haven't said anything, they haven't established anything, but do y'all think that this could evolve into a tournament?
Yeah, I think there's deeper things going on. I think it's not going to be a tournament. I think it's going to be actual war. And I think that the whole reason why this tournament is happening is to prevent the war. But if you can see, there's a bunch of foul play going on. Zeus wasn't supposed to fight that next fight.
Yeah.
He chose to do that. And so either it's going to be an inner turmoil between the gods who want to protect the humans, or it's going to be a turmoil between the gods and humans, straight up. And you're going to have God, big G-O-D, on the human side.
Ooh,
You think it's going to be like Armageddon?
Oh, yeah, most definitely. Like, because think about it. Every time this happens, year after year after year after year, there's the same tournament, there's the same issue, there's always something going on. And I bet the reason why we're watching this one time, this one iteration, is because it's unique. It's kind of like Fate, Stay Night, Fate Grand Works. There's always something unique about those series. Something that crosses over into the next series. This isn't going to be the same tournament that we're having. Mm-hmm. We're watching the makings of something that's going to be new and exciting.
But what I'm more so getting at is like Zeus won.
Yeah.
What's his name? Won. When a human wins, are they going to say, all right, human, now go fight Thor?
Oh, okay.
Oh, you mean like
I see what you're saying.
I think it's just single eliminations.
Okay,
that's what it seems
so basically,
like.
Yeah, like it's just you win and you're done.
Okay.
Because if that was the case, Zeus should have been like, all right, time to go knock some more heads, dog. Like,
I do think that there's some kind of hidden conflict between Zeus and Odin.
Ooh, yeah.
Okay, I forgot all.
So I can see like towards the end of the tournament, it end up going into like more of a true 1v1 style tournament. Like fuck the teams, like. I want to win. I want to be the strongest out of everybody here. I want to beat everybody here.
But on the God side or just everybody?
No, everybody. Yeah. And be like, yo, I'm going to be the head of the council of the gods.
Oh.
So fight for the throne.
Because I feel like there's got to be more to the characters that win and characters that, especially on the God side, like Zeus winning, Thor winning, like, there has to be something deeper than, all right, they win, and now they're just commentators.
Well, you still see them, but I feel like that's when that deeper story that we're watching unfold is going to unravel. And that's when you're going to see those conflicts between those gods. Because if you notice, on each fight so far, there's only been 2. You know by the end of that fight what position that god was really for. With the Thor fight, Thor was really for the humans. With the Zeus fight,
Gods.
And
Okay.
so you're slotting gods into, okay, you're for human, you're for god.
I think that leans a little bit towards what X was saying, that eventually like the gods are either gonna say, all right, well, I want to fight you, another god, and then and some of that, like them kind of really picking sides, will play a big part of that.
It could turn into a pantheon war.
That would be nice. And then they summon the humans.
And guess who would lead? Hercules would lead the humans. It wouldn't be God. It would be Hercules.
You probably would. I forgot all about her.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, actually, yeah.
And that could convert Thor. Ooh, that could. I don't know, man. Dang.
We'll see, man. We'll see. All right, we'll try.
I feel like with Hercules and Thor, though, for this initial tournament, they're going to be on the side of the gods.
Well,
yeah,
for sure.
Because the things have to play out, so the twisted side of the gods can actually start to show more to everybody else. Because if the Valkyrie starts to really notice it, she is going to be like, hold up, start making moves to where their little schemes start getting shown to everybody there.
Or do you think she knew?
She probably knows, but I think she is trying to take every opportunity to take Zeus down. She wants to take Zeus down.
So this whole tournament is really just an exposure thing.
That would make sense.
That's like an exposure. She wants to kind of expose it out to everybody that what Zeus is doing is kind of in a way selfish towards the human or towards like the humans, and not really like letting them really try and like prove themselves. Again.
Okay. Well, I think next time we do an anime topic, we should let's try to not necessarily go over 2 chapters, but talk about 2 fights.
I was gonna say 2 fights.
Okay,
let's try
so
2 fights would be
so
nice.
Kojiro and Poseidon, and then whoever's
left
you
with
saw who it is, huh? Is it Jack?
I didn't say that.
Okay,
You know it is. Okay. Well, let's cut here, and then we're gonna move on to a couple of our last 2 topics for the podcast.
We'll be back. You gonna sip that Whataburger again? Yeah. You can get all of them on the camera.
I'm an idiot.
I spoil things, so I'm not gonna say nothing.
Record stops the recording, right?
Yeah.
oh my goodness, bro. That shit was so funny. That's all I ever saw it, yo.
So stupid.
That nigga was sad and mad.
We're back, baby. We're gonna be talking about. Actually, we're pretty much gonna be talking about. We're gonna be talking about Dragon Ball for the rest, but we're breaking down 2 different topics as we discussed before. Right now, we're gonna talk about why Dragon Ball is more so the worldwide big anime that everybody knows about. Like, even people who don't watch anime or even watch Dragon Ball know about Super Saiyan. They know about Goku. They know about looking at the moon and turning into a giant gorilla. Like, they know about all this stuff. They know about these things, even though it's not something I've necessarily watched. And so a lot of people, like, want to say, oh, well, it was just the first anime that came out in America. But, I mean, the gap between Dragon Ball Z specifically being available and stuff like Yu Yu Hakusho and Inuyasha and those that were also coming on during that time, like, those were still there. And so I think there's got to be something more to to why Dragon Ball has just kind of gone so globally like that and so popular in North America than just, oh, it was one of the first ones. And so I kind of wanted to break that down and talk about what everybody thinks in that regard of just why Dragon Ball was able to make that leap that some of the other animes, like, it seems like Dragon Ball gets people into anime for the most part. And so I wanted to talk about that. But correct me if I'm wrong, Dragon Ball Z came to North America before Dragon Ball did, didn't it?
Dragon Ball.
No,
I remember watching a lot of Dragon Ball Z on Toonami before I started seeing Dragon Ball.
It was on
Dragon
Toonami before.
Yeah, it's because Dragon Ball.
You could watch it on select channels, but if you didn't have cable, you weren't gonna watch it.
And it was way before. Obviously, whenever we grew up in the early '90s, we were watching Z. I watched Z, and then I had to go back and watch Dragon Ball.
That's what I did too.
The only other time I knew about it because I would go to the library and I was exactly. I had to read it from the backside. I still loved it. I fucking love that shit. But man.
I think.
But
I'm not sure how.
I want to make sure I understand. Dragon Ball was on Toonami at the same time that Dragon Ball Z.
Dragon Ball was never on Toonami.
Dragon Ball was never on Toonami. It was just Dragon Ball Z that was on Toonami.
It was on a different channel.
Yeah.
Okay. Because there was, and that's what I'm saying. There was a point where Dragon Ball started coming on at 4 o'clock, and then Dragon Ball Z was you get an hour of Dragon Ball, and then it would segue into Dragon Ball Z at 5.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to make, because it seemed like I hadn't seen Dragon Ball before, that I had only seen Z. And then I started being exposed to Dragon Ball. Like, is that the same thing? Did y'all experience that the same way?
Yeah, I experienced it the same way. I think one good way and reason that Dragon Ball really took off, and it was mainly Dragon Ball instead of like Inuyasha, Yu Yu Hakusho, and then like even some of the other early shows like Sailor Moon and things like that were on around the same time, is because Dragon Ball, especially with the character of Goku, symbolized a hero. And with America, heroes is like number one thing, even early 90s and 80s when you had Superman and all those. And then for Dragon Ball, it was like, hey, we got this anime character. He powers up and goes to this like crazy, his hair turns yellow. That became like a thing. People knew it. They knew you were powering up and becoming Super Saiyan. And it was similar to Goku. Not Goku, similar to Superman in a way. Goku and Superman have always had a connection. And Toriyama even knows that. They've had a connection with it. And I think that drew a lot of American audiences in because they saw these fight scenes going on in this cartoon and they saw this dude who was like a hero. It was like the real first anime in America that Americans got to watch that they saw a hero out of it. Because you watching Yu Yu Hakusho, you watching Inuyasha and all those weren't really heroes. And Goku isn't technically a hero, but the way he was portrayed on Toonami and back in the day,
the savior of the earth.
Yeah, like he was more portrayed as a hero, and I think Americans and maybe even Europeans took more credit to that than they did with some other anime.
But you know what? Because I definitely vibe with what you're saying as far as presenting the main character as this superhero, heroic figure that I'm gonna save the day and I'm gonna triumph evil type of character. Let me ask y'all this. Do y'all feel like if Goku as a character was depicted more so how he is in the Japanese versions, would it have had the same effect? Because for me, Goku in Japanese and Goku in English, they're almost two different characters.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I feel like it's the English Goku has that presentation of, I'm coming here to save the day. I'm here to fight evil. Like, I'm overcoming you because, you're doing the right thing and I'm the symbolization of good. I don't necessarily see that as strongly with the Japanese one.
And this is
so do y'all think that is kind of another one of the reasons why Dragon Ball is pushed in that way?
I think it's one
and the reason why I keep saying Z is because Dragon Ball is... The original Dragon Ball doesn't necessarily have some of those.
It's more of a journey. It's more of a journey to the rest type of deal. With Dragon Ball Z, along with how Goku is portrayed, it's the fighting. That's one big thing that has always been big over here in America. It's like fight scenes and stuff like that. Action movies. We love action. We crave action and things like that. And I think that was another good thing. Yeah, people like clown Dragon Ball. This is 5 episodes of them powering up, or 5 episodes of them charging up a move. But people really know they watched it for the fights.
Yeah.
And I'm not even gonna lie, bro. Growing up, like whenever I watched Dragon Ball, it was always in English. I didn't watch Dragon Ball in Japanese until Super started airing. And the first thing that popped in my head was like, why does Goku sound like that? Yeah. I've never heard that.
At the same time, if you look at Dragon Ball, over there, they've been used to this Goku for years.
Yeah,
and they've been used to the comedic Goku because that's what original Dragon Ball, if you watch it right now, it's a comedy. It's a comedy with a little bit of action.
Right.
And then Z comes in and it's hella serious.
It's
very serious. And that's okay because that's Western audiences. But Z does something that Superman, that Batman, that any DC character or any superhero, no no bashing. Z shows you your hero take an L, but they show him training. And the reason why I speak about training is because training is what makes it realistic.
Training,
It makes you think, I could get to this level. I can't do a ki blast, but I could get to this level of physical perfection. And that's what makes them real.
My first experience with fitness was because I watched Goku train for 8 days in the chamber.
Yeah.
Because he was training for 8 days doing push-ups, sit-ups, and that's all he was doing, bro. And so if I'm sitting here thinking, okay, well, that's all he did. I could do that, and I could get strong. I was one of the only people in elementary and junior high that had a 6-pack.
Bro, I was just about to say that. I used to do the same thing, bro.
And that's the reason. There's no other reason why I was the only person other than that I watched Dragon Ball. I watched Goku do it, and it was real to me. It was real to me that I could do those things and maybe not be able to kill an Emperor alien, but I knew I will get stronger from doing those things.
So go first, because I can hold on to mine.
Dang, I wanted to say a couple things. That was good though. I remember, bro. I was 8 or 9 years old. Me and my sister, we used to shadow box because we would watch Dragon Ball Z, and me and her, we just doing all that, bro. We used to do all that, and we used to power up. There was one time where I thought I saw electricity go through my hands. I'll never forget that, bro. And I used to do push-ups and sit-ups every day. Right there in the living room, both my grandparents would be there just chilling on the couch because they would watch it with me. They didn't really care. Like, what are you doing? Trying to be like Goku.
Yeah.
And bro, ever since the 3rd grade, I have always had a 6-pack.
Yeah.
Just always, bro.
And flex, but alright, dog.
That is interesting that y'all.
That's crazy.
Me and Ken and Shaw we used to do that shit.
I mean, when you think about it, okay, so you said, why is Dragon Ball so big worldwide, right?
Mm-hmm.
It started with us.
Yeah.
Really, maybe a generation before us, my older cousins that are probably 32, a few years older than us. It really started with them because I don't know about y'all, I got spoiled a lot. Whenever it came to Z, seeing Super Saiyan 3, whenever I just saw Super Saiyan, it's what's this character, what's this figure and all this stuff. But while we were growing up, bro, we had WWE already. Mm-hmm. We were at that age where I've always really liked WWE, but
Pokemon was actually really
Pokemon
big too. Was taking the fuck off then.
It really was.
It's really the only competition from a worldwide standpoint to Dragon Ball during that time. Pokemon was one of them. Sorry, go ahead.
You can keep going.
But for me, that's just. I think what you're going back to is seeing the progression of Goku. It's more so just. I think it's another reason why Dragon Ball works so well, and why people tend to dismiss some of the leaping logic between it, because you do feel like the reason why Goku is stronger now is because I just watched him train for 10 episodes.
There's no giving it to him. He earned this.
Yeah.
He earned this. This wasn't no power of the protagonist. He earned it.
And in the first instance where that doesn't happen is when people had a problem with it. For when we talk about Dragon Ball Super.
Yeah.
Master Roshi being so much stronger. And he said, well, I've been training on the side and y'all didn't know it. I've been training. That's why I'm strong. Right? Or they have an issue with 17. Even though they're saying, 17 has been training for these 15 years.
We didn't
see it. Mm-hmm. We didn't see it. And so it didn't make sense to us. And so I think that's one of the things that really drove Goku as a character and made him so relatable to us as the viewer.
Another thing that was different about Dragon Ball, especially at that time, if you compare it to other animes that were going on at that time and other cartoons and just other regular shows, is that kind of with the progression of him training, one thing that happens a lot in other animes is that they're not like most shonens. Every episode is this brand new story. There's a brand new thing going on. It's more
episodic.
Yeah, it's more episodic. It's not connected to everything. With Dragon Ball, it wasn't episodic. No, you watch that episode, hey, with this episode next, I can't wait because I'm about to find out what happened on this episode. of next time on Dragon Ball Z. So like, so it was like, that is one thing that was different, especially at that time, is that it was a show that kept going. It wasn't like with this episode, like you watching, let's say, Inuyasha or something. Or not, Inuyasha was more of a show, so it had it. But like, all right, let me just throw another random show, cartoon, SpongeBob. It's an episodic show with SpongeBob. It's like, yo, you're going to miss an episode of SpongeBob. Oh, I'm pretty sure they're going to play it again. It's a rerun. We might see it later that day again. But with Dragon Ball, there wasn't like that. It was like, yo, we gotta wait for this next episode because we gotta find out what's happening next.
I feel like Dragon Ball was one of the first kind of cartoons that really doubled down on we are going to stop at the exact moment where you do not want us to stop. Mm-hmm. Like one of my favorite memes, it says how Dragon Ball was back in the day.
The dogs?
Yes. It's just two dogs staring at each other for literally about 40 seconds. And then all of a sudden one barks and they're about to start like tackling each other. It goes black and white and all of a sudden you hear doom 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 doom. And it's like, I was like, wow, that was every single big moment in Dragon Ball. Like they found, and that's what pushes really a lot of shows now have mastered that. Yeah. Shows now have mastered that, but they didn't have it mastered back in the way Dragon Ball did. Then you have the voice actor, and then you
narrator, R.I.P.
And exactly, and then they have the next episode preview. They gave you just a little bit. The marketing of what they were doing with Dragon Ball around that time made you feel like, what the hell am I gonna do between now and tomorrow getting out of school, before I can watch this again, because I gotta see what's going on. So definitely, like, all of that kind of played a part into it as well.
But then not only Goku, the whole cast of characters gave you something. Like, for me, Goku was pretty cool. Well, I really love me some Vegeta.
I love Vegeta.
Vegeta was like my top character. He went Vegeta, and then, it was Piccolo, because,
Let me ask you this.
What's up?
Did you like Vegeta? How much did...
I liked pre Saiyan arc Vegeta. I liked him during when he came to Earth. I was like, this dude is cool.
But did you like Vegeta? I'm trying to see did you naturally gravitate towards Vegeta even at a young age?
Yeah, because I thought Raditz was cool.
I didn't start gravitating towards Vegeta until I got older and understood Vegeta.
I liked Vegeta just because of the strength that he had and his arrogance. I was like, man, I'm not that arrogant, but he can be, so I like him. And I don't think my 10-year-old brain thought that, but I was like, his hair is cooler than Goku, and he can shoot blasts just like Goku, and he's angry. That's dope. I want to be with this dude. This dude's cool. Let's go slap people together.
And he just killed his partner.
He killed his partner.
He killed his partner and never talked about it again.
Do you know how gangster Vegeta was to people? Because he was better than Piccolo.
I had Goku so engraved in my brain at that time. It was a love-hate relationship with Vegeta until he died for the first time.
Who, Vegeta?
To freeze his hands on Namek. When I saw him crying, I'm pretty sure I shed a tear too, and I didn't know why. I didn't like that character all like that.
But then, if you look at it
over time,
he's
my favorite.
Those characters grow on you.
So Vegeta started to grow on me a little bit. Actually, probably about 20 episodes before that point, where you start to realize who he is as a tactician. Like, he's like, okay, I'm weighing my options. The Ginyu Force is here. Goku's on the way. Frieza's here. There's 3 people in the Ginyu Force that I am currently not stronger than, and then there's Frieza. Right, and so now he's looking at weighing all his options. I need these Dragon Balls, or we're gonna die. These kids I hate, but they are my best chance to basically survive this encounter. Yeah. Because we're not leaving this planet without encountering Frieza. Yeah. We're not leaving this planet without encountering Frieza. And so the way that not only was he such a good tactician, but he was able to articulate the severity of that situation to Krillin and say, look, your boy is not here, and Frieza and the Ginyu Force are coming. I will not do shit to y'all, but if y'all don't use these Dragon Balls to give me immortality so that I can fight this dude, we will be dead before your friend gets here, and you'll have no access to those Dragon Balls again. Like, that was when I was first started to realize there's more to this character than the evil that we saw in her.
Yeah, evil's what got you.
So,
but see, it only got you because you didn't know what he was going through. We didn't know about
I
Frieza.
know nothing about that.
Frieza, that whole first like half of Dragon Ball Z was because of Frieza. Like all the strings that he was pulling. Like Raditz, Raditz going to Earth looking for Goku. Vegeta going to Earth because Raditz got dusted and it was just crazy, bro. But I really like what you said. Like during those moments, that's when Vegeta's other side started showing out.
Yeah.
Because it really was. Because things could have been way more dire in that situation without him.
Yeah.
Making those decisions, he kind of paved the way.
Exactly. Okay. So, anything else on that y'all want to bring up, or we're about to say?
I'm ready for the segue.
Okay.
Respect.
So, what we want to end with is we're talking, and we're going to talk a little bit about Piccolo, obviously in this too. But there's just this long-running perception of Goku as a father. And so we want to break that down, and we want to talk about, just from our perspective, watching, man, what do y'all think about Goku as a father and how he handled Gohan growing up?
So,
I do want to specifically focus on Gohan. I know Goten is his son.
And you saying that too. I'm gonna bring up Goten because I was actually watching Broly's second coming and I was talking about Goten a little bit. But so for Gohan, one thing that's interesting is actually because it's been a while since I've like completely rewatched Dragon Ball Z.
Mm-hmm.
Most of it all is still in my head and I can still think about scenes and kind of recap action scenes and stuff. But one thing that's interesting that Kakarot, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot actually brought to my head was the beginning of the game. Whenever you're walking with Gohan, and all like that whole little moment when you're walking back to the house made me think like, yeah, Goku, he likes training a lot. But before everything with Raditz and everybody else happened, Goku was a father.
Yep.
Goku was a legit dad. And it makes you think that literally the rest of Z is, if you go think about the rest of Z and then go back to that moment, everything Goku does after that encounter with Raditz is to protect his family. Everything he does after that is to protect his family because Piccolo was there, but he wasn't trying to kill Piccolo. At that moment, he knew he was going to have to fight Piccolo again, he knew he had to train, but Piccolo wasn't really that big threat. Goku was being a dad. Yeah. He wasn't going out and training for 10, 12, 15 hours a day, then going home to eat and going to sleep.
He stopped training.
Yeah, he stopped training.
Like at the beginning of Dragon Ball Z, he said, "I haven't trained in 5 years. I've been kicking it with my family."
Goku was a legit dad. Another scene that really just is prominent is kind of like that picture I put in our group chat with Goku, what Goku sees and what Gohan saw. Whenever Goku puts his hand on Cell and is about to instant transmission, Goku knows he's about to die. And he doesn't look at everybody else before he teleports and says, "See you guys later." He turns, looks at Gohan, and then teleports away. He sees Gohan.
Yeah.
The one person he was trying to protect, along with his family, and since the start of Z, he looks back at Gohan, "I'm doing this for my son." Teleports and dies. Yeah. He did that for Gohan, his son. So for people to really say that Goku isn't a good dad, that he doesn't care about his kids, if anybody who brings up Goten, leave it alone. He was dead. He was dead.
And I think one of the things that I think a really good analogy for this is if you have it's like families where the father has to work so much, has to work 12, 13, 14-hour days. And so tries his best to make baseball games, make basketball games, come to parent-teacher nights, but a lot of times he has to miss that stuff because he's working. But then you have the oldest brother who is playing basketball with his little brother every day, so helping him, hone his skills and get better, coming to his games a little bit more often. And sometimes you start to think, oh, well, this older brother is really his dad. Like, he's the one doing all the raising and everything. But really, you completely overlook all the sacrifices and stuff that the actual father is making just to protect his family. And I think that's a real world example of what's going on with Goku.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And
his
you think
job.
the brother being Piccolo.
I was just about to say
Exactly.
that.
Yeah.
I talked to him about it yesterday. I
The
was
brother
like,
is Piccolo.
I was like, yo, Piccolo is kind of like a symbolic reference to Goku's
Brother.
son, because he's like Gohan's older brother.
Yeah.
Whenever Goku's away, who was there with him? Piccolo, teaching him, showing him the ropes and stuff like that until Goku returned.
Yeah, it was interesting how he came up with that because he asked me like how Piccolo died. King Piccolo died, and Goku flies to his stomach. King Piccolo spits up that egg, and it's like a symbol because yes, technically King Piccolo came out of Piccolo Jr. came out of then, but then pretty much who is Piccolo always after?
Goku.
Who's he always around?
I told him, I was like, that's like a symbolic reference.
It's like through Goku. When the stuff with Raditz, why was Piccolo at Kami House?
Yeah.
Why was Piccolo at Kami House?
Are you talking about why he showed up at Kami House?
No, Piccolo was there.
During the Raditz thing?
Yes.
No. He was at Kami House because he went to Kami House.
Yeah,
because he fought Raditz.
And then came to warn them.
And came to warn them. Like,
Double Sunday.
But why would Piccolo do that? Why would he care enough to do that?
Mm-hmm.
That's the whole reason. Why did he go to Kami House? Why did he care enough to do that?
Yeah.
Against his rival, this person who killed his dad.
Mm-hmm.
In a sense, him. Like, why would Piccolo go and give a warning? Yeah, you could say Piccolo knew that if he didn't team up with Goku, they wouldn't be able to do it. But no, it's like Piccolo he had many other ideas. Because remember, Piccolo didn't really want to deal with Kami at that moment. So Piccolo could have left.
Yeah.
Piccolo could have left Earth.
And there was also...
he didn't know he was from Earth. He didn't know he was a Namekian.
Well, he could have just blanked out in general and just kind of, this has nothing to do with it.
Oh, yeah.
And another reason why he could have done that is because Raditz gave no indication that his plan was to destroy the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
He may not even have been strong enough at that point to destroy the planet. All he was saying was, I'm here to get my brother, and I'm going to go. Okay, never mind. I'm just going to take this young boy who's stronger than both of y'all, and I'm going to go. Piccolo could have just ignored that. So it has to be something deeper than, my survival. I'm going to team up.
Well, no, Raditz said he was sent to the planet to get Goku, but they were also going to sell the planet. Like, more Saiyans were going to come, and they were going to sell.
But he didn't tell that to Piccolo in that first encounter.
Well, no, in the first encounter, he was just like, yo, dude, you seen this?
That's what I'm getting at. Like, the fact that Piccolo didn't know anything about him selling the planet or anything, he could have did that fight with Raditz.
Piccolo said Raditz said that there was another planet that they wanted to go take over. And that's why they wanted to go get Goku, and then he was bringing Gohan. I think, and it's been a minute since I've rewatched it, but I never got a line of dialogue or a story advancement that said their intention was still to sell Earth after failing to sell it because Goku never took it over in the first place.
I think it was the planet thing first, but then it became his intention to sell Earth too as well. Because of this, he's like, Kakarot, your whole mission for coming to this planet.
But that was something that he would have done later.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, I think maybe it was the brotherly love with Goku, or it could have been the Warrior's Code with him as well too.
I don't think at that moment Piccolo cared about that.
I think at the end of the day, like Piccolo didn't have enough information to believe that he needed to be a part of that.
Yeah.
And so there's something deeper about his choice to do that. But like for me, I think that to steer us back onto topic, I just feel like everything that Goku does from the very beginning is so centered, as just like Mitchell was saying, it's so centered around his son. He's dead because he was not going to let Raditz leave the planet with his son. Because at that point, it's like, I didn't even know there was that. I don't know where any other spaceships are. I don't know anybody who could build a spaceship. Like he, as far as Goku knows, man, if you leave this planet with my son, I'll never see him again. Right? And so it starts with that. Goku gets beat up, and consequently, we don't have any sense of beats ready, so he has to recover. Meanwhile, they have to go off onto Namek to do whatever. But as soon as Goku is healthy, I'm on my way to go help my son. Because my son's on another planet trying to get these Dragon Balls to bring back our friends. You know? And so I think the only moment that you can really call back to that makes it seem like Goku might have been a little selfish is the extra year that he spent on Yardrat. Instead of coming straight home.
And yeah, I actually talked to X about this the other day, yesterday when we were chilling, and I think with the Yardrat thing and why Goku decided to take that extra year is because once Goku realized that Frieza was still alive, Goku knew, because he crash lands on Yardrat. He didn't pick the coordinates for Yardrat. He crash lands on Yardrat.
Yeah.
I think once he realized that Frieza was still alive, and he probably has already been kind of talk to the Yardrats for a little bit, kind of understand that they got abilities. He saw it as an opportunity and said, yo, it took every ounce of my ability to beat this man. Mm-hmm. And I still didn't beat him technically.
Yeah.
I can't just go back to Earth in this same present state and do the same and probably train where I'm with these creatures who know abilities that I don't. Let me learn from them, then go back. Yeah. That way I could be a little bit more of use and we don't gotta have half of the planet being destroyed before I finally am able to beat him.
True. Yeah.
And I think that is why Goku decided to take that extra year. And to credit that, with Vegeta in the manga right now, he spent I think 7 months now on Yardrat, learning this new spirit control thing. So that 7 months in Goku's year makes sense on why Goku decided to take a whole year and stay there.
So I cannot learn this on Earth.
And the last thing that people would say that Goku was being selfish is after Cell not wanting to be resurrected with the Dragon Balls. Regardless, Goku had a good motive. Everyone and everything that has happened on Earth that has been bad has been because of Goku. Yeah. Him saying, yo, maybe I should be dead because I technically should be dead anyway. Yeah. Maybe I should just stay dead because I'm bringing danger to what? My family.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that brought peace for a little while too.
Mm-hmm. A little bit.
Until he came back for a day. For that day. The shit went to hell.
So I think that brings on to like narrative. Goku, he's not a bad dad. If anything, he's a great father.
Yeah. Some people would say that he's a bad dad because of the predicament that he put Gohan in against Perfect Cell.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you gotta look at the relationship of him and Gohan from previous arcs and stuff. So, growing up, he was always protecting Gohan. You know, always protecting Gohan. Gohan goes off to planet Namek. You know, Goku's not there yet. Gohan's fighting multiple battles, keeping up.
Yeah, probably.
Okay, well, alright.
So one thing that I can say, like, that I think about Gohan that's, like, pretty, for Super, at least, and how they connected with kind of like Z and everything else. Wow, it's on my. I had it, and then I had it.
And then it feels like it's right here.
Yes, it's right there. I can see it. But I'm gonna kind of like detour again because I can still kind of connect it in a way. But with the way Gohan is after everything with Cell and him training, whenever he finds out that Chi-Chi trained Goten and everything like that, and it kind of he got hyped whenever he found out that Goku was coming back for that day to train. He started training.
He was so
happy and so hyped that like, yo, I'm about to get to my dad again. I'm about to probably get to fight him in the tournament. Like, he got happy. Like, that was something interesting, and it's not coming back to my head at all right now. I am probably gonna have to.
But I think that's a good point, and it just kind of it goes into what I was saying, man. The son's perception of the father is the biggest source that we should look at and use as a term to what type of father Goku was. Like, who cares how long he was gone? Look at the way Gohan go.
All right, so so with Super, with Goku in his training, I think one of the reasons, and it is a big criticism, and I don't completely like it. So me saying this, I'm not on its side completely, but I think Goku, the reason he's just so, I'm just training because I want to be the strongest. It's not really I'm training because I'm trying to protect everybody. Is because of how strong he's gotten and his relationship with Lord Beerus. He doesn't feel a threat now. He doesn't really feel a threat. Before there was a threat, before he had a reason, aside from him loving fighting, he had a reason to train. It was for protecting his family. He doesn't really have that reason anymore, in a sense. Like, yeah, Beerus can get mad and want to blow up the planet and everything one day, but Goku now doesn't see that as a possibility. He doesn't see that as a thing that's just going to randomly, Beerus is going to come there and Hakai the planet one day, or they're really being a big threat. When it came to Goku Black, with the Goku Black stuff, and whenever he found out what Zamasu did to Chi-Chi and Bulma, or Chi-Chi and Goten and the future timeline, when he went back and he was telling everybody, where did all that anger go? It's because it was only in the future timeline. And everybody was already dead.
Yeah.
So, yeah, he got mad at Zamasu for that moment, but whenever he got back to the future timeline and they were all talking about it, she was like, you let my son die? Like, Goku and him were just joking about it because he was like, yo, yeah, that happened over there, but he still doesn't feel the threat in their timeline.
Yeah.
So it's nothing for him to be like, all right, now I need to train for them. Now, and I think this is where they flipped it, and now Vegeta has that mentality. We saw with the Toppo fight. We saw with the Goku Black fight. Now Vegeta is fighting to protect his family. Vegeta has that mindset now. What Goku's mindset is, yo, we got all these people around that really, I don't really need to be the person to save the world now. Yeah. I'm not really that man that needs to be the person that saved the world. I have a god of destruction that's like on speed dial in a way. I don't really need to think about that. And I think that's why Goku acts like that in Super. And I think that's why Vegeta acts like that in Super. Because now Vegeta went from the person who never gave Trunks a hug at all until that moment with Majin Buu.
Yeah.
So now Vegeta is looked at for Dragon Ball as the best dad. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because that's how Goku was.
Exactly. He's only doing what Goku has done
and now
10 years of Dragon Ball.
Everybody sees Vegeta doing it in Super, but that's how Goku already was in Z. Yeah. It's just their roles flipped. Their roles legit flipped because what did Vegeta do in Z? He only got stronger for himself.
Yep. Yeah.
Their roles has completely flipped now. I'm glad I remembered that.
Good. Anyone want to talk a little bit about Piccolo and his relationship with Gohan?
I do. One other thing I want to note, and it's because we and just small before we get to Piccolo, because we haven't really seen how Super's going to portray this, is Gohan and Videl. Not Videl. Gohan, Videl, and Pan. I want to see how that is going to play out now.
I don't think we're going to see that.
Well, the reason I think we're going to see something is I don't think they're going to go the GT route where Gohan is a complete scholar and we never see him fighting again. And the reason I say that is because the way the manga is portraying Gohan, he's still in that fighting spirit. And I think if we saw Pan now, would we actually see Gohan training Pan?
I'd like to see that.
So I think that's something I want to look out for, the fact that we had this conversation. And if it's going to kind of continue that trend on with Dragon Ball, I wonder if we're going to see, not even just because they need to fight somebody, just as a family thing of Gohan training Pan. Or Videl training Pan. Because a lot of people forget about Videl in Dragon Ball, but she was a fighter. That was the whole reason her and Gohan got together in the first place.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one thing about like GT that I didn't like, is what they did to Pan. It made her pretty much Chi-Chi and Bulma. Which that's what made Videl different.
Yeah.
Is that she was one of the, aside from Launch being, hot-headed, having her hot-headed side, Videl was a fighter. She was a female fighter for Dragon Ball. And then it kind of
goes back to what Goku and Vegeta said about, like, why did you choose this woman? And he's like, man, I don't know, we like these feisty hotheads. Like, clearly that's what Videl is.
That's what the Videl is. And I don't like that after everything with Boo. And now I can see she is paying, she's watching over her daughter. That makes sense and everything. But they really just kind of pushed her back to, okay, you were a fighter, you were really important, now you go over there with other women.
Yeah.
And that's one reason why I really have a lot of hope for Kefla. Because she is a Saiyan, and I don't want them to sideline Kefla.
Kefla or Khalifa?
Both. No, I'm going to say Kefla, counting as both of them.
Okay. Oh, okay.
Because I don't want them to push Kefla aside, because we finally had another female fighter again. Mm-hmm. And that's why I'm happy that she is a part of the new Dragon Ball world, because I want her to stick around. Yeah. Because it's interesting, it adds more to the characters.
Yeah. And
that's why I like all the little intros and outros for fighters with all the characters when they see Kefla. and everything. Like, I like how they do all that, and that's something that I want to see. Like, Cell even saying a female saying, like, it's like, that kind of stuff is interesting, and it's kind of stuff I want to see in Super, and not for them to just sideline characters, kind of bring them up.
Yeah.
Now you have to start with Piccolo.
Okay, yeah, just say a couple. I'm just gonna say a couple of things about Piccolo. I mean, I definitely feel the relationship between Piccolo and Gohan. I think that relationship is important, but I think it's clear that relationship is more so like, hey, I'm the big brother, and I'm gonna protect my little brother relationship. Granted, I feel like Piccolo changed because of Gohan and that relationship, but to me, like, I don't think. To me, there's no evidence other than, yeah, I left you out in the wilderness for a year, damn near, and then trained you for 3 months. There's nothing that leads to the idea that Piccolo, for some reason, is a better father than Goku. Like, it's a totally different type of relationship, but if we're going to criticize, like, the Goku's relationship with Piccolo so intently, then we have to look at Piccolo's relationship the same way. Like, for me, like, I like Piccolo a lot as a character. I like that relationship with Gohan, and I think that relationship is actually stronger in Super at times than it is from some of the stuff that you see. Because pretty much after Piccolo sacrifices himself for Gohan, that's really the peak of his relationship with Gohan for Z. You still see callbacks to their time together and how much Piccolo cares about him, but as far as like any type of inkling to him raising Gohan as a man really ends there. And so that's just kind of one of the things where, like, if you're gonna say that Goku's not Gohan's real dad, you definitely can't say Piccolo is.
Yeah.
You know?
Because like the big brother connection is really good because like in Super, whenever they're fighting the other Namekians and that Namekian does that blast and sees Piccolo on the ground, he looks up and he sees Gohan shooting him this time, and like that's interesting because it's Kamiyu points, and like, yo, look, this is what you've been doing for him, both y'all whole lives pretty much.
Mm-hmm.
The role has been reversed.
Yeah.
The little brother now is protecting the big brother.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll go, like, and him saying, like, oh man, I was getting on you about being a warrior, and look at me getting, like, all caught up in that fighting spirit. It was like, he even says, like, together we're unstoppable. It's like, that connection they've had, they've almost been brothers for almost 20 years now.
Yeah.
Like, they're like, yo, we are unstoppable as a team.
Yeah.
Like, Gohan now looks at Piccolo as on equal terms with each other. Like, well, Piccolo looks at Gohan like they're on equal terms now. That they're partners, they're brothers. Like, that's how they look at each other. It doesn't have that, oh, I'm your dad type of vibe with them
at all.
It never really was.
Yeah.
Too. Like in the Cell saga, Piccolo had a couple of lines about Gohan that was directed at Goku. Goku, why the hell you do this? Look at this, your son's out there getting beat up. He wasn't saying Piccolo wasn't saying my son's out there getting beat up because you're a fake dad. He wasn't saying none of that shit.
Yeah.
But like he was just like throwing jabs and stuff, and then I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it, bro.
I think a lot of times people ignore the characters, right? And they don't understand that these characters are written this way for a reason. Like, this is the character's perception of the relationship between these two people. Gohan understands why Goku is so important in his life. Piccolo understands that. Everybody else understands that in the show. Like, you make all the jokes that you want, but when it's time to really talk seriously about Dragon Ball, Goku is one of the best dads in anime.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else?
No, that's actually a great way to end it off, saying like that.
Yeah. All right. Next week, we are doing video games.
Yep. Back to the game.
All right.